Welcome back to Rockers Beer Review, and here we are in the lovely surroundings of Chester City Centre. We're at the Chester Racecourse. We're not going to drink beer here, we're going to build up a thirst, and then I'm going to crack open them Cloudwater beers later. Keep tuned. Back in the house, ready to enjoy these new beers from Cloudwater, and we're going to start today with the Pale Ale, which is coming in at 3.7%, and the Session IPA that's coming in at 4.5%. Now I know it was a good few days ago that I managed to get these, but if you watch that video when I managed to find a Tesco that had them in, you may remember that I mentioned I had my COVID vaccine that day, and to be honest, I felt bloody awful for the rest of this week. I had loads of the sort of, feeling fluid side effects, sore arm, all that sort of stuff, and basically I went right off beer. So the plan was I was probably going to not drink that day, and then have one the next day and be fine. But Wednesday, Thursday, even Friday, I haven't done it. So now it's actually Saturday afternoon. And we're back. So I'm thinking as well, because there's quite a few of them to get through, I don't want to just do one video for every beer. I'm going to try and do 2 beers in every video. So it means I can catch up, and it means that you don't have to sit through all that sort of, one beer video sort of thing and me rattling on. So I'm going to try and make them reasonably succinct with 2 beers. And I'm going to start basically low with the lower alcohol one first. So we start with the Pale Ale, then the Session, then the double dry hop type Pale Ale, and then the IPA. And then I'll be doing the 2 of each of the ones from the £10 box that can in conjunction with the other breweries. So I mean, there's plenty of information about these beers. There's been a lot of discussion about them. These are Cloudwater beers. There's a core range of 4 beers, and they're going to be in Tesco as their sort of core beers. Although at the back it doesn't really tell you all that much about them, these are actually being brewed for Cloudwater by Brewdog up in Scotland, and they don't tell us the hops, but pretty much from what I understand that they've got Citra Mosaic, Simcoe, and Talus hop as well. And I think all them hops are in all 4 of the beers, but obviously we've got Session, we've got Pale. So I know there'll be some changes in the recipes. It doesn't really sort of tell you that much really in terms of what's in it and what's the difference between them. But I'm going to crack them open, and let's enjoy them. Let's say this is the first beer that I've had. So I'm going to start with the Pale Ale. And let's get this into a glass, see what it looks like. Well, straight away, it's lovely and hazy, really sort of yellowy colour. It's almost like matching the can artwork there. So yeah, you can see that there. Let's get a zoom in for that. Beautiful, very, very yellow, straw-coloured beer. It looks even a little bit darker on the screen, but in the flesh, it is pretty much like a pineapple colour. Loads of carbonation, all clinging to the glass there. So I expect it's going to be fairly carbonated. We've got 1 finger of white head. Looks pretty good. Let's see what it smells like. It smells really nice and fresh. Very citrusy. I'm getting grapefruits in there as well. Lots of lemon and citrus, maybe a little bit of orange rind. I'm not really getting much in the way of tropical sort of aromas. Grapefruit being the big aroma there, and I'm really, if you saw the beginning of this video, this was literally, I've just been on a big walk with the dog around the race course in Chester, and I'm really thirsty, looking forward to this. So cheers everyone, let's celebrate Cloudwater, whether they're Cloudwater or Brewdog, in Tesco's. Cheers. Really light. There's still a little bit of softness, but there's also a fair bit of carbonation that sort of zips around, gets that flavour. And it's very much in the line of those sort of pale ales. But 3.7%, 3.7 or 3.8? 3.7 is fairly low, I think, for any sort of beer. But there's still lots of taste in there. You're getting a lot of pineapple and a lot of citrus, lemons, lime, tiny bit of orange, maybe a bit of passion fruit, and then a nice wash of grapefruit. But for a pale ale, it's really easy drinking, and it's really refreshing. It's a perfect beer for summer. Really good. Yeah, it's a real solid beer, real solid pale ale. It's the sort of beer that you can drink in the afternoon. A day like this, sunny day, sit in the back of the afternoon, drink 3 or 4 of these, no bother at all. Not worry too much about, that ruining the rest of your evening drinking because they're fairly low in alcohol. But at the same time, you always get worried when it's 3.8 that it can be a bit watery, a bit like lacking in flavour, but the flavours are all there. And you can tell just by the looks of it, it just looks like a lovely, hazy, flavoursome beer, and I think that's pretty good. So that's a pretty damn good start. I'm going to put that one to the side and now crack on. So this is the Session IPA, a little bit more, 4.5%. And again, same sort of hops. So I'm going to be interested to see what this is like. It's obviously going to be a bit more alcoholic, but the difference between a pale ale and a session pale ale, whether we're going to get huge amounts of differences in the flavours. So beer in a glass, again, you can see it looks a little bit thicker. I'm going to put it up against this one. You can see this one it's definitely a bit hazier. It's a bit more of a sort of golden colour than a straw colour. And it just, it just looks, the way I poured it and even in the glass, it looks a bit thicker. Like any sort of decent IPA should be. One finger of white head, as you say, it's a lovely golden yellow, slight tinge of orange, but still more that yellow side than orange. Let's get the aromas. Yeah, the aromas are a little bit, there's a little bit more stone fruit sort of aromas in there. So I'm getting more peach, apricot, mango. Yeah, they're the sort of key sort of aromas I'm getting. Let's see what it tastes like. Cheers, everyone. Yeah, it's a little bit more juicier, a bit softer. Carbonation is still there. Tastes pretty good though. Very much like a New England. You've got big waves of pineapple and mango in there. And then you've got this underlying sort of peachy sort of flavour. I wouldn't say it goes into a real deep, strong stone fruit flavour, but it's still lots of flavour, nice softness and mouthfeel there. And it's got this sort of creaminess about it that's really, really good. And again, for a beer that's 4.5%, there's a lot of flavour there, a lot of flavour. Yeah, that's delicious. A little bit of grapefruit bitterness on the back end. And it's big, and the mango is really, really nice in that. And the pineapple. Now I'm getting some lemon, citrus and grapefruit there. I'm going to have a quick go back to this one. Yeah, I mean, compared to this one, the Session IPA has a lot more thicker mouthfeel. It's still not really heavy. It's not a real heavy beer. But comparing it to the Pale Ale, which is very, you realise when you go back to that one, how light that is. This one has a definitely step up in terms of its body and its mouthfeel. And the flavours a little bit more lingering, a little bit more, they're just a bit stronger in the whole mix, really. And you get a much more tropical, where the Pale Ale seems to be a much more on the Pale Ale side. Still pretty good beer. Out of the two, I think I would prefer the Session IPA. It's just juicier. Much more hop forward even than I would say the Pale Ale is. But I know with the Pale Ale I can taste it. You can taste similarities, even though there's a lot of things that are different. There's also a lot of things that are similar. It does taste like an amped up version. Softer, bit more, maybe more oats in the mix there. More haze, more flavour, and just a much more of a sort of a stronger mouthfeel, both in the taste and the texture. Both pretty good. Let's get some scores for these. Okay, the scores are in for the two Cloudwater. We've got the Pale Ale at 3.7% and we've got the Session IPA at 4.5%. Both really good beers, especially the fact that they were £3 each. But let's go through them at the same time, I think we'll do. So firstly, aroma. Well, both of them have got a really nice aroma. Obviously, I opened up with a Pale Ale, and I thought, yeah, it's nice and fresh and fruity, lots of citrus fruits, lots of grapefruit, really, really pleasant. And then when I had the session, it was a little bit more, the tropical fruits flavours were aromas, I should say, are much more pungent than the citrus. And there's a little bit of stone fruit, a bit more mango and that sort of thing into the aroma. So I'm giving the Pale 13 for aroma, and I'm giving the Session 14. Appearance, well, I think both of them look pretty good. I mean, you can see the slight differences that the Pale, I mean, it's a Pale Ale, but for a Pale Ale, that's 3.7%. It's got a really nice sort of yellowy haze to it, and I think it's a really nice colour. The Session, again, for a Session, there's a lot of colour there. It's yellowy, but it's got a little bit more golden colour. It's a bit darker. Both of them pretty good. For their styles, I would definitely give them both an 8 out of 10. Flavour-wise, they're both great beers. They both taste really good. There's nothing super exciting and extraordinary and amazing about the flavour, but they're just really, really solid. The Pale Ale, though, I mean, 3.7%, you expect it to be a bit, the flavours just to be dialed back quite a lot. It's a fairly low ABV beer, but I was quite surprised how much flavour was in there. So you've got nice citrus, nice grapefruit there on the back end. It's really, it's not overly carbonated, which is good. Not as soft as the Session IPA, but at the same time, I've had so many Pale Ales that have just been too fizzy, and this one is just about the right balance. You want a little bit of lightness and fizziness to it, which it has, but it doesn't overdo it. So I'm giving the Pale Ale 32 for flavour, and just because those flavours are a lot more amped up again, like the aromas with the Session, so I'm giving the Session 33 for flavour. Value for money. These cans of beer are both £3. Cloudwater beers. Okay, so Cloudwater. Sometimes I think they're more. There's definitely more Cloudwater about them in terms of what Cloudwater's had before compared with the Brewdogs I've had before. So I don't know exactly the ins and outs of how they are brewed. You know, I don't know if Cloudwater they take all their stuff and they go up to Scotland from Manchester with their brewers, and the brewers use the equipment in Scotland from Brewdog, and then they make the beers, and that's how they're made. So they're pretty much a Cloudwater beer, or they just say, well, this is the recipe. There, go on, Brewdog brewers, you go and brew this. And I think you're going to get different, but there's a lot more Cloudwater similarities in terms of the Pales and IPAs that I've had before. And I've completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, we're on value for money, aren't we? So, but I still think £3 for these beers is really good value for money. They're really solid beers. They're as good as any other £3 beer that you can get in the supermarkets. They didn't do anything spectacularly different, but they're just really solid beers that you would always think, yeah, I could have a couple of those in the fridge because they're always going to be good. So I'm giving them both 9 out of 10 for value for money. And then my overall experience, well, again, both of them are good beers. The Pale, I'm surprised how good the flavour is for the ABV. The Session, I mean, even the Session one, there's a lot more flavours in there for 4.5% than I've had with many 6% IPAs. So that's going to be credited as well. But they're really easy to drink. The Pale Ale is very light, very refreshing. The Session IPA is a lot more hop forward and a little bit more, there's a lot more to get your sort of taste buds around. There's a lot more tropical flavours, a little bit more chewiness about it. I don't know if we're going to amp up again with the double dry hop Pale Ale and the actual IPA, but we're going in the right direction. I think both of them are really good, and I would definitely buy both again. So I'll give them 14 each for overall experience. So we top those scores up. The Pale Ale gets a recommended 76 out of 100. That's a damn good score. And the Session IPA, a few more points, 78. Again, another White Snake beer. I've enjoyed both these beers. I hope it's not because I haven't drank a beer for all week, and now it's taken me this time and I'm tasting it and I'm thinking, oh, I've missed this beer. I've missed these beers. I bought them on Tuesday. They've been sitting in my fridge all the way since then. I've been looking at them lovingly, thinking, oh, don't worry, my pretties, we'll be opening you up soon. And today's the day, and I'm really excited about them. So they're the first two from the Cloudwater, both solid beers. If you haven't even gone to Tesco already and bought them, what are you playing at? Put them in your fridge, and if you've had them before, let me know what you think in the comments below. Which have you had of these four, which are the best? Have you been surprised by the Pale Ale in terms of that flavour with that low ABV? Is there something that you think, well, actually, I've had Cloudwater beers before and they're a lot better than these? Let me know in the comments. I'm interested to hear what you think. I'm always interested to hear what your comments are. So, until the next one, you know what we're going to do. Keep on